Hey, American contractors, viewers of the American Contractor Show. I'm here with John Dye at Win the Storm, and I have to tell you, anyone that is associated with American Contractor Show, you are a badass.
Big shout out to American Contractor Show. If you don't know, you definitely need to check out the Storm Summit. They're doing it in excellence. Check them out.
Hey, what's up? This is your friend, Francisco Serrano. If you haven't checked out American Contractor Show, YouTube channel, Facebook channel, Twitter, Instagram, all the platforms, you need to go them, like them, start learning about your craft.
Hey, I'm Matt Danskin with Restoration Referral System. Check out the American Contractor Show. The truck that they've got is awesome. Everything else that they have going on.
This is Larry Bache with the Merlin Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Merlin Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the for changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I as a contractor appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor who's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our daily forecast videos. I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers, and if you guys have not had a chance to yet, check out our awesome sponsors C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and American Contractor Show. You guys saw their ads a second ago, so make sure to go check them out in the description to this video. Into today's weather, we have more severe chances for Texas. You guys have been kind of stealing the show for the past few days. So we got another risk for hail as well as wind in your all's neck of the woods, Del Rio and San Antonio. You guys are the cities of today that we're going to be talking about. And then into the East Coast, we also have a risk for you guys. It's a low-end hail risk, but we'll talk about it. And then finally, our hail chances for tomorrow. We're going to have those severe threats stick around, so we're going to take a look at that as well. Before we get into our hail forecast, though, if you guys haven't seen this graphic yet, check us out. We're at Calm Before the Storm Golf Tournament. That's going to be on May 20th in the Denver, Colorado area, Fox Hollow Golf Course. So make sure you go register for that if you guys want to play some golf and talk some weather with us. We're looking forward to meeting you guys. And then into yesterday. So we had kind of a busy weekend here. We got a few hail and wind reports across the southeast and Texas yesterday. So we had one hailer moving through this area in Texas, and then a second storm that moved southeastward. And then we had all this hail and wind that moved up through the Mississippi Valley as well as the southeast. So we did have an active period of storms last night. That brings our storm report total for yesterday to 2 tornadoes. We had a couple tornado reports north of Memphis, Tennessee yesterday. 38 large hail reports, and then 55 high wind reports for yesterday. So not anything crazy, but we still did have some storm activity that helps us bump those numbers up for our 2021 totals. So those totals are 371 tornado reports since January 1st, 1846 for large hail, and then just shy of 3,000 high wind reports. So still a little low. We're waiting on those numbers to pick up. Here's what we have in comparison to 2020, 697 tornado reports, and then just shy of 3,000 hail reports, and then all of those derechos and everything that happened with those crazy wind events last year bumped us up to over 6,000 wind reports. So not too worried about catching up to our wind numbers quite yet because we had a bunch of exceptional events last year. But the end of May is looking like it might be more active than normal. So we could see those large hail numbers spiking up here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be banking on that, and we're going to be keeping you guys updated as well. Into today's forecast. So here's what we're looking at right now. Beautiful conditions across the west as usual. Gosh, you guys are always sunny and beautiful out there. Great time to be out in the western part of the U.S. And then we do have some cloud cover working its way through the central plains as well as the southeast. Some scattered storms working their way through Kansas. These storms in Oklahoma have had a history of producing hail this morning, so we are watching that area. We'll have a risk out for you guys in that area for later this afternoon. and then storm coverage through the southeast as the day moves forward. So looking into our southeast area right now, so like I said, these are a couple of isolated cells that we've seen moving through the Red River region this morning and afternoon, producing up to golf ball sized hail this morning. And then through the rest of the region here, that's where we're expecting to see some storm activity pick up later this afternoon and this evening. We're getting some good clearing this morning, and then we start to see some cloud cover filling in by the most recent hours. So that will limit our daytime heating a little bit, but that shouldn't be a problem because you guys are still expected to hit nearly 100 degrees in the southern part of Texas today. So it's going to be nice and warm for you guys down there, plenty of instability. And then we have these storms that are working their way off the Gulf Coast right now, and those are just mostly gusty wind threats here and there, weakening as they go off into the Gulf. Back into the U.S. for our temperatures, we should see some beautiful conditions across most of the country. So 54 up in Portland, Oregon, 63 in Los Angeles, and then working our way into the mid and upper 50s across most of the central part of the U.S., even 58 in New York City, so pretty beautiful. Then Dallas is at 58, and here's where that cold front sits, guys, right there in between that 58 in Dallas and 88 in Houston, so 30-degree temperature gradient as that cold front sits in this area, and that's what's pushing those storms southward, and that's what's going to help us with that risk today. So 74 in Atlanta and 86 in Miami. So beautiful conditions across most of the country. Like I said, it's going to be pleasant and mild across most of the northern part, and where that southern parts of the state are getting all that nice heat, that's where we're going to see those storms develop as we get that convective heating. Dew points, another thing we rely on for that severe weather. Looking pretty good down in the south. We got 53 in Dallas, again with that cold front just ahead of it. 69 degrees in New Orleans, and then we're hitting the 70s in the southern part of Texas, 74 in Miami. So plenty of humidity, plenty of heat that we are working with in the southern part of Texas today, as well as just scraping the bottom part of the southeast and the lower Mississippi Valley. Should have plenty of that atmospheric instability that we're wanting to work with to get those severe storms. So heat, instability, moisture, those all work together to form our CAPE values. So that's our potential energy, convective available potential energy, and we like to see these high values, and that's what we're getting right down here in the southern part of Texas. Check that out. We're having some red CAPE values, so that is nice and high for us into this early afternoon. This is by 2 p.m. And then by the end of your workday, 5 p.m. Central Time, we're going to have that cold front. It's going to continue to linger in the central part of Texas, and that's going to help those storms fire ahead of it, and those CAPE values are going to ride off of that heat and instability and help form those storms later in that region. So 5 p.m. end of your workday, and then by 8, 9, midnight, we're going to see those CAPE values start to push down to the southeast as we lose that daytime heating, and as that cold front starts to just very slowly push down into the southeast, we're going to start to see that instability ride along with it, and we should have that energy start to diminish by the mid-evening. So here's what we're looking at for our future radar. Again, 2 p.m., just the middle of the afternoon, we're going to start to see these isolated cells popping up here in the south central part of Texas, and that's where we're going to see our best storm chances, is with these isolated storms that are popping up. And then into the end of our workday once again, starting to get more storms rolling off the mountains there, starting to get those isolated storms rolling eastward as we move through our evening. More of those are going to be popping up and pushing eastward into the overnight hours, and this is by 2:30 a.m. We're going to start to see those kind of cluster up and push off of the coast. And then here's what we're getting for our Carolinas risk. Mostly scattered storms, not a ton of instability through here, but there should be just enough for you guys to possibly get a quarter here and there. So we're seeing those scattered storms moving through by the mid-afternoon, pushing through into the early evening hours. Still just a couple of isolated cells here and there. Could get some $quarter to $half sized hail out of that. And then again, pushing off the coast by the late evening and overnight hours. So that brings us to our risk for today. So we got one for you guys in the Carolinas, and then we got a big old risk through Texas and Louisiana, and that's going to be the focus for what we're talking about today. So let's zoom in there a little bit. Okay, so we got $quarter to $half sized hail coming all the way from the Texas-Mexico border, pushing its way into Louisiana and Mississippi. Lubbock, Texas, you guys aren't in the risk for today. I think that cold front is just going to push too far south. So you guys are going to be in the cooler conditions. The storms are going to form along the edge of that cold front, and that's where we have our risks starting for today. So $1.25 to $1/2 from, like I said, the Mexico and Texas border all the way into Mississippi and Louisiana. Could see $1.25 to $1/2 sized hail anywhere in that region. We have a risk for up to golf balls here through the northern part of Texas and into Shreveport, Louisiana. That's where we've been seeing those isolated cells trucking eastward through the morning and early afternoon hours, and those do have a history, like I said, of producing some severe hail, some large hail with those. Waco, not looking like a lot. It's looking like we're going to have a band and cluster of storms moving off of these mountains through the Del Rio and San Antonio area, which I'll talk about in a second. Don't think they're going to make their way far enough northeast to hit you, Waco, so you guys might have some $1.25 to $1/2 here and there, but I think the main part of our risk area is going to be down here in the southern part of Texas, as well as up in the Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas border where we're seeing those storms tracking now. So that's why we have that risk area in place there for Del Rio and for San Antonio. We saw those storms forming in the central southern part of Texas for today, and that's where we're getting these risk areas for today. So plenty of instability, plenty of heat, plenty of moisture available, and we should see those storms go up quick in this area. So we do have a risk for up to tennis ball sized hail, Del Rio and the surrounding area. You guys could see that large hail, and then as those storms track southeastward, that's why we have San Antonio in that risk. Those storms should develop to the western part of this risk area and then move southeastward towards San Antonio. A couple of models have it moving into the city, and we could see them sustain themselves long enough to push southeastward through San Antonio, producing some hail, so we got you guys at a moderate risk for that. However, it's just dependent on if those storms can keep trucking your way and push through the city. So San Antonio in a moderate risk for up to golf balls, Del Rio up to tennis balls, $1.25 to $1/2 through the rest of that region. Then moving into the Carolinas, we have a risk for $1.25 to $1/2 through any of that area with a couple of those isolated storms. It's going to be low end. That's not Nashville, that's Columbia. But we do have Charlotte, ignore me, but Charlotte, North Carolina and Raleigh, North Carolina. You guys both have a risk for $1.25 to $1/2 sized hail into this afternoon with a couple of those isolated storms that are moving through the area. Not super likely to see a widespread amount of that hail, but it's still possible with a couple of the stronger storms moving through. Then into our forecast dew points for tomorrow. So plenty of instability to go around. This is by the end of your workday tomorrow. Plenty of humidity through the area. Like I said, it's going to hit almost the triple digits in South Texas, plus we have those 70-degree dew points in a lot of those areas, so just muggy across most of this region into today and tomorrow. But that is going to help our storm potential as that cold front continues to just kind of linger in this area. You can see it on those dew points pretty well as it just kind of sits through Texas and the southeast. We're going to have all that moisture advection from the Gulf, and that's going to help us sustain those storm chances through the south today as well as southern Texas, and that's into tomorrow. And so future radar for tomorrow, messy storms across the area. We're going to see a couple of isolated cells moving through the eastern part of Texas as well as Louisiana and Mississippi. We could see some scattered storms, like I said, pretty messy into tomorrow. And then by 5 p.m., starting to see those cluster together, moving across Texas into Louisiana. And then we'll start to see them band up, push southward, and that's when we'll transition into a wind risk. So that's 7 a.m., May 12th, so it moves through the overnight hours and then off the Gulf by the early morning hours. So our hail forecast for tomorrow, here's what we got for you guys. Moving into Texas once again, you guys are stealing the show. We got $1.25 to $1/2 in basically the same area into tomorrow. So from the western part of Texas into Mexico, all the way through Mississippi, we could see $1.25 to $1/2 sized hail. Moving into our city's risk, San Antonio, you are once again in the $1.25 to $1/2 size risk, much lower end on tomorrow's forecast, just because, again, those storms are going to be pretty messy. We don't have a super tight moisture gradient, so we're just going to look at $1.25 to $1/2 through most of the area into tomorrow. Shreveport and Jackson, you guys are also in that risk. And then I think it's going to stay just between this Dallas and Houston corridor into tomorrow. So I think we're going to see our scattered storms moving through that area, and a couple of those stronger ones could see $1.25 to $1/2 sized hail into tomorrow. So Texas and the South, you guys are kind of stealing the show for the past few days. looking like it's going to continue as that cold front just lingers and we wait for our next trough to move through. So that's what we have going on for you guys now. And if you guys want to make sure to catch the rest of our forecast and stay up to date on your weather conditions, make sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can hit that notification bell on YouTube so you never miss when we go live, and our live forecast videos every weekday at noon. Hit See First on Facebook so you can make sure to get those same benefits and you never miss our live videos. Then if you want to get in contact with us, say it with me guys, you can call us at 855-334-4245. You can also email us at info@hailtrace.com or check out our awesome website, hailtrace.com. You can get more about who we are and what we do. Reach out to us if you guys have any questions or comments, and stay tuned for our future weather forecasts. But for now, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers. Thanks for watching.